a few minutes before I go out on my walk. And let's have this chat and this conversation about health and fitness. Good morning, friends. Let's see if you can hear me, but I think you should be able to hear me just fine. There we go. I'm going to start making my coffee. And we're going to have a pleasant chat about health and fitness and staying healthy and fit at 5:20 a.m. I always want to start earlier, but it seems to take about 25 minutes to actually get started, regardless of what I do in the morning. So here we have the outcome of that is that I always start around 5:20, but I've been up since just before 5 a.m. And for those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours in a night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance. I try to eat around 2,200 calories in a day. That should be about what it is to keep me lean and fit for life, to maintain my weight. I try to eat a lot of vegetables, not that I am a vegan or anything like that, or vegetarian. I just think that there is a lot of good nutrition to be had from eating vegetables. I try to eat enough protein to support my strength and muscle building goals, but I'm reassessing whether that is 1 gram per kilo body weight, or about 85 grams per day, or whether I need more, like 120 to 150. And I haven't decided what I think the right amount is yet. And with that, I also need a mug. With that, so we're talking about sleep, we're talking about eat. I show up for training. Today I'm going for a walk again because I injured my back 2 weeks ago, and we are waiting for that to heal and recover. It's been 2 weeks, and to be very honest, I think we've come a long way, but there are still some moments where there is some slight discomfort in the lower back, not pain, so I don't suffer from back pain. And just think that a disc and an injury like that are probably going to take a little bit more time to recover than I would like, but that is completely fine. There's nothing that we can do about that except give it the time it needs and wait. Otherwise I would be doing strength training, strength conditioning training, mobility training, endurance training, running, both sprints and long distances. I show up every day, but I also try to spend time with people I love and care about, do the things that I enjoy, and generally try to live a stress-free life. So if any of that is interesting to you, then go ahead, check out my channel. There's a lot more conversation and information about health and fitness there. This morning we're going to talk about staying fit, staying healthy, and how those are slightly different things. Very briefly, because right after, in about 10-15 minutes, I have to be out and be walking, because I want to get a bit over an hour of a walk in every day. And yesterday I got just under, or just at 1 hour in, a bit less actually, and I'd like to have a bit more of time walking since I'm not doing any other kind of workout or exercise. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I would like to feel fit, capable, and competent for life. I would like to be able to go out and do things, be self-sufficient, lift my own suitcases when we travel, play with my kids, whether they're playing on the floor or climbing up in these large climbing racks for kids in the playgrounds. I would like to be able to keep up with them and be able to keep up with the demands of life, not only today, not only 10 years from now, not only 20 years from now, but 30 years from now. And those are the big reasons why I do these things. The main chunk of my investment is an investment of 30 to 60 minutes every morning, which I live stream here where I do a workout, but throughout the day there are many other things that I do related to food, related to distressing, related to connecting to people, related to being active and moving throughout the day to stay generally fit and healthy for life. And we'll talk about a lot of those things over the course of the streams and over the course of the conversations we might have today and in the future, by way of an introduction. And thanks for dropping by the channel. I appreciate that, and I hope you're doing well where you're at, and I hope life is treating you well where you're at this morning. And if you happen to be watching, feel free to go into chat and to say hello, good morning. And if you have any questions for me at 41 about health, fitness, sports, training, career, fatherhood, being a man, generally living life, you go ahead and ask me anything you want to ask me, all right? And I will do my best to try and answer if that is the conversation we need to have. The nice thing here is I think I'm going to get 2 cups of coffee out of this, which is going to be extra nice. I always like the taste of that foam milk in the morning. So, for me, when I say getting fit versus staying fit are 2 different things. What do I mean? Right? Let's dive right into it. Well, getting fit requires a different approach than staying fit, even though there are similarities. Between the things that we might need to do, it's a completely different game. You see, I think it comes down to this, and once you've heard this, maybe that's the end of the stream and you can get on with your day if you decide, right? Getting fit requires changes and revolutionizing or evolutionizing the way we live and the things we do throughout the day, from our sleep to the types of clothes we buy, types of groceries we buy and bring into the house, to the types of meals we prepare and eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to the amount of activity we engage in and the types of activity we engage in the day. It involves a lot of struggle with our social circles, with our social life, with the structures of our life, to make significant changes that will also stick and last over time, to enable us to move from the lack of fitness and lack of health that we were experienced to a spot where we are actually fit and healthy. And that is a process that takes time, because even on the day that we make that first change, that we decide to change, from that day we are going to face a lot of challenges and hardships and questions from people who don't necessarily don't want us to be healthy, but who see that we are dedicating ourselves to someone, who see something, to see that we are trying to make a change, to see that we are doing things different, to see us become critical of choices that we are making, but also implicitly it is being critical of the choices that others are making in life. And that's a very hard one to reconcile, right? Because you're probably saying something like, well, no, you do what you're doing, but I can't have that, or I'm going to have something different, or I'm going to need to prepare a meal for myself, or I'm not going to be able to participate in that social event or take any of these delicious snacks that you've put on the table because they don't align with my goal or the change I'm trying to make in my life as I'm figuring out how to live to be fitter and healthier, because I know that what I was doing before was making me unfit and unhealthy, putting me on a trajectory for all kinds of health challenges later on in life. But implicitly, we're also saying, well, you're doing something that I don't think is healthy, right? You can't avoid that conversation or that implication. And it's important to realize that getting fit is about making all of these changes. This is also one of the reasons that a lot of people who try to get fit and healthy actually find it hard to stick to the program of their choosing, because not because the changes are necessarily hard to make. I mean, sure, it requires some effort to change breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but you're still eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? We're not starving ourselves. We're not fasting for 30 days to lose the weight, but we are changing habits and routines that we've built up over a lifetime. The fact that we go from sitting on the couch together in the evening and watching TV series to you saying, oh, okay, well, I'd love to watch this series, but I actually need to get up and go for a run, go for a bike ride, go to the gym, do my push-up, do my workout. You're actually saying, well, I'm trying to get fit and healthy, and what we were doing together or what you are going to do now, I think, is not going to help me be fit and healthy. And again, implicitly, that is a criticism of what the other person's doing. So you see there that there is going to be, not just in terms of your behavior, any kinds of struggles, but there are also going to be struggles with the direct environment, with the demands, responsibilities, and commitments that we've made to the people around us and to the environment around us that has maintained that status quo. Thanks for dropping by, saying hi, and I appreciate the advice. There is actually a lot of joy to drinking cold coffee as well, but thankfully it stays nice and warm here in the cup. But I appreciate your concern about the quality of my coffee drinking experience. And I cannot pronounce your name, but I hope that you are doing well where you are in the world, and I hope you're having a good start or end of the day, depending on where you are, whether you're on the European continent, further to the east, or further to the west, out in the United States or Latin America. So getting fit and healthy is very different from staying fit and healthy. Those changes that you are trying to make do not only impact yourself, they will impact other people as well. You want to be mindful of that when you start on that journey. Now let's compare that to staying fit and healthy, because that is equally hard, but in a different way. And here's why that's equally hard, but in a different way. You see, you are going to have to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. Once you've made all of those changes, once you've figured out what gets you to being generally fit and healthy, like I have become from 101 kilos over to around 85 kilos stable over time, right? That's a 16 kilo difference that I try to maintain, but I've gone back up to 90. I've never gone back down to 79 because that was just ridiculous. I always think somewhere between 82 and 86 is probably a good weight. I think 82 might be the leanest that I want to be. But 86 is still okay. Anything over that, I also start to notice that the clothes I have don't fit as well anymore, and that I also start to feel a bit sluggish and slow. So naturally, right around 85 is somewhere where I would like to land generally, discounting the increase in lean mass and muscle mass. So as long as I can keep this shape and size around my waist, and this level of body fat, maybe even a bit less, but put on some muscles, probably it's going to be just fine and a good thing. But how do I do that? Well, you maintain that by doing the same things over and over again, having a certain amount of food for breakfast, having a certain amount of food for lunch, having a certain amount of food for dinner, having a certain amount of food for snack, stopping to eat, showing up and doing 30 to 60 minutes of exercise and workout nearly every day, whether that's mobility or walking or strength training or endurance training or strength endurance training. By saying no to a lot of things, by consistently buying foods that help maintain this level of health and fitness and that nourish me but that don't overfeed me. And this never stops, right? So I might change things up as in what the foods are that I'm eating, but staying fit is more about being consistent and doing the same things over and over and over and over again. And at this time, people are actually used to the things that I'm doing, and maybe they're even slightly participating. But it is a very different reality because I am still learning things about health and fitness because my body evolves as I get older. I need to make slight adjustments to the lifestyle that I have. But the lifestyle in and of itself is already conducive to staying fit and healthy over time, to giving me the energy I need, but also to maintaining my current body weight and ability through exercise and sports and whatnot. So I think it's important to see the difference between those two, right? Getting fit is about making changes. Staying fit is about doing the same things over and over again. Both require consistency. Both require us to show up and do something. But the things that we are doing and learning are inherently different. To each other. There's a couple of things to just keep in mind for general health and fitness, right? That is, first of all, deterioration is inevitable. As we get older, we are going to lose aerobic capacity, we're going to lose bone structure density, bone mineral density, we're going to lose strength, and we're going to lose muscle volume. That is just a fact of life. It is not a given that we get to be old and healthy. When we talk about health and fitness, we are talking about the risks to our health and fitness, right? The risk of getting a certain disease, the risk of something happening to us, the risk of us dying. We can do things to mitigate those risks, but if we have a genetic predisposition or life just happens or we are simply unfortunate or unlucky, we can't really tell at what age what is going to happen. Some of the challenges we face are just programmed into our body, so to speak. But some of the challenges we face are a direct or indirect result of the lifestyle choices that we are making in terms of what we eat, how we sleep, how much we move, how connected we are to our community and society, the environment we live in, and the things we choose to do. So it is important when it comes to health and fitness to consider all of these factors and decide what we want to take charge of and control over, and what we're willing to accept for ourselves in terms of our future and current health and fitness, because the more capable we are today, the more capable we're likely going to be in the future, if that makes sense. And I hope that does make sense. Besides that deterioration, right, regular movement, not even exercise, are important. Regular movement in terms of light, just moving around, walking, not always sitting, but also getting our heart rate up for 30 minutes every day, just moderately. So things like gardening or a walk where we can still keep up a conversation, but we can notice ourselves breathing slightly harder, are good ways to maintain that cardiorespiratory health, which is a very good indicator for longevity. Maybe introducing some sort of resistance or weight training, or carrying and lifting heavy things. I mean, even if you just have a sandbag at home, you squat down and lift it up 10 times, you walk around with it, you carry 2 bags of groceries, one on each side, weighing a couple of kilos, to challenge your core and keep yourself upright and stable. Those kinds of things throughout the day. I think that's one of the reasons that gardening is so good, because there are bursts of activity. You're carrying tools around, squatting down, leaning over, moving, bending, using your entire body, and then taking rests as well. Is going to be important. How well we sleep. And I'm not even talking about going to the gym and exercising, just talking about being active throughout the day. How well we sleep, trying to optimize our sleep, trying to get sufficient sleep and sufficient sleep of good quality, specifically the bedtime and the waking time. Then we can get good results regardless of the quantity, as long as we're hitting that minimum threshold. Is an important thing to keep in mind. And of course, minding our foods, and especially our foods. That's where a lot of the behavior is. I mean, the change from a sedentary life to an active life is not a big one, right? Because anything is a plus on movement if you sit for 10 to 12 hours a day. So some of us are even sitting more, right? Already 30 minutes on that is going to do a lot for you. But the foods that we eat are probably the biggest challenge, because food is, something social. Food is something that we do for pleasure. Food is something that is very functional, and we need to decide which one we are going to prioritize. And very often we prioritize food for pleasure or food for social, rather than looking at the function. And the function is that it can actually keep us healthy and fit for long periods of time. So we want to look at the changes we need to make in all those areas, but also the things that we need to be consistent with. And the things that we need to be consistent is, once we changed our level of fitness, is portion sizes and quality of food. So when I say we eat a lot of vegetables, or I eat a lot of vegetables for lunch at work, for example, we have a great cafeteria with a great vegetable and salad offering, both warm and cold. I will stack up my plate with a lot of different greens and then add a protein source to that, some nuts, some dried fruits, and some oil, and that will usually keep me full through the afternoon. So there is definitely space and room to look at the quantities and qualities of the food that we're taking in on this health and fitness journey. All right. Then there's the question of losing weight and maintaining weight. And generally, right, we've talked about, well, you can be overweight but have good health markers because you're active. It is probably generally going to be easier to maintain weight rather than to lose weight. And it is probably also, in the long run, a more viable strategy to try and stay where we are at, and over time, maybe gradually try to convert some lean mass, some soft tissue fat, into lean mass or muscles, because more muscles are always going to serve us better. But that doesn't have to happen in a week, or in a month, or in a year. This could be a lifelong commitment to slowly get leaner and fitter over time. because those gradual changes might also stay. And I think everyone is different. Everyone has different health challenges. Everyone has different fitness challenges. Everyone has different lifestyles, and everyone has different expectations of themselves. You don't have to be a fitness influencer or a fitness model to live a healthy and active lifestyle and to get the benefits of good sleep, good nutrition, and sufficient movement throughout the day in your life. All right. I think that's all I have for you today. I think that puts us close to 6 a.m. Yeah, I'm going to go out for my walk. Friends, thanks for dropping by and watching. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you dropping by and enjoying this cup of coffee with me for this chat about getting and staying fit and healthy. For those of you watching, my name is Toby. I'm 41 years old. I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, showing up for workouts, whether it's strength conditioning, mobility. Try to spend time with people I love and care about, do things that I enjoy generally, live a stress-free life. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I would like to feel fit, capable, and competent for whatever life is going to show at me. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks we will start streaming workouts again, but until then we're going to be streaming little chats from the kitchen about health and fitness, which I hope are useful and good for you as well. All right. Remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. It's the person we are today is going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. So a bit of kindness is going to go a long way. All right. Is there enough people out there who want to put us down, so we'll lift ourselves up, friends? And the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I will see you tomorrow. And remember, friends, subscribe.